So favorite, glenohumeral kinematics and impingement syndrome.
Superstar. You're like a goddamn plant. All right. That's my favorite. You know, because I was big once into trying to change. That's scapular dyskinesis, right? Wonky scap syndrome. 2 years ago, I showed a video. I won't show it again because I don't want to embarrass that person. I could show it. It's really funny. I don't know. Almost done. You want to see it? Okay, he's not here. Fuck him.
Then, yes, he had standing up first. And I'm going to try to look in the monitor and do this, and you just face out that way. And
so this is a surgeon. He's going to do a standard classical scapular dyskinesis exam. Here we go. And this pretty much is the research in a nutshell.
I'm going to just step off here for a minute so I can take a look at you. Okay. What I'm seeing with just that little step away is his right shoulder, just look straight ahead if you don't mind. His right shoulder is a little bit low. Not terribly, but a little bit low. Clavicle is a little bit level. Nipple line is pretty even.
Okay, wait. Some of you know this, but I have to. Who regularly assesses the nipple lines in their patients? Like, have we been not practicing properly? Should we go to the mall and perhaps do a public health screening campaign? I'm just thinking. It's appropriate. But remember, he is a surgeon. He could fix it.
His arms are in front of his body.
Arms are in front of his body. I hate that one. Where the fuck are your arms supposed to be? Right? Now this kid's like, my arms are in front of my body. He's right. I don't know how long they've been there for.
And let me turn you this way.
If only we could confirm that. Let's see.
Again, it's easier to see that his arms are in front of his body here.
Okay, so if you're not sure, you turn them to the side. Master class right here.
Little bit of an anterior pelvic tilt.
Those are his fucking pants.
And now if you would turn and face the other way, please. And on this view, actually, from this view, his right shoulder looks a little bit elevated. Here's the tip of his right scapula. Here's the tip of his left. So this one seems to be a little bit lower, and this one seems to be a little bit farther out.
Okay, so the right scap,
so put your hand.
That's part of the dyskinesis, that the scapular border is more prominent and it's tilted out to the side.
Your hips for me.
And then they...
all the way up on, put your hands. But if you look at Nathan, here's the inferior pole of his left scapula. Inferior pole of his right scapula is way out here. So his scapula is, to me, laterally translated. Okay. Now bring your arms down.
Okay, so it's out to the side, and then he's going to do sort of a, I don't know what that was.
Okay, and let me have you step back just a little bit so your hands don't hit the table. Perfect. And by the way, while I'm down here, let me just look at, he has a little bit of a pelvic tilt to the left. His right pelvis is a little bit higher. To recruit a little bit more. And now go ahead and squat down. And again, he's going to internal rotation, which is a sign of hip external rotation weakness.
Did you hear that? That's really neat. He said, you're going into internal rotation, which is a sign of external rotation strength weakness. You know that they've studied that? Some of you know this, so it's really neat. They've done a study where they inject a paralyzing agent into the nerves to the glute med and they've shown that the strength decreases by half. And then when they go back to test that Trendelenburg sign, that there's no change in hip adduction. Isn't that cool? That's a Kendall. That's the first author on that one. Okay.
A little bit at the end. His scapula kicks out. But what I find is that more frequently I can identify it on eccentric function, meaning lowering the arm, coming down from forward flexion more so than abduction. So bring the arms forward, up and overhead, all the way up. And now bring them down slowly.
Oh, it's disgusting.
There he is. Okay, so what's happening as he comes down, his scapula is moving up and internally rotating so that he's got medial scapular border winging. So go ahead, forward again, please, Nathan. Right here, here's the inframedial corner of his scapula on the left. Here it is on the right.
It says it's farther out
Okay,
there. So he's, let's go to the next one. And it moves funny, all on the right side there. And now he's going to try to do some symptom
What he just said
modification.
was he's actually he's having a little bit of discomfort. So can you get it up any higher? Is that more painful as you come up? Okay. And now he's arching a little bit. He's showing you a little bit lumbar lordosis as he does that. Now bring the arms down slowly and stop right there. So right here, his scapula is way out here. This scapula is here. So he can't control the position as well as we would like. Okay, and now bring your
Can't
arms
control
down.
the position.
And now let's see if, let me rotate you about 45 degrees this way. And what I'm going to do, the scapular, so now I know that he doesn't have a limitation of motion, but he has some discomfort as he comes up, and I wanted to see, can I eliminate that? So the scapular assistance test is you're holding the scapula here, and all I'm going to do is help his arm come. And I'm not going to do it in abduction because he didn't have symptoms in abduction. His symptoms are in forward flexion. So go ahead and bring your arm forward and up and overhead. Is that any more comfortable?
Oh,
Yes.
shit.
Let me go this way.
What?
Bring your arm forward
What?
and overhead.
What just happened? Where was the pain? It wasn't just abduction or flexion. It was the other goddamn side of the body. Right? Any mention of the wonky, poor control of the scapula on the left. It's poorly related to pain. It's poorly related to future pain. There's even the association studies, Jeremy Lewis is on it. Ratcliffe is the first author. There's an inconsistent relationship. There's another systematic review by Timmons as well. And the prospective stuff is mixed. You have some prospective stuff that says, like, really wonky scapular dyskinesis might be related to future pain in handball players. Like it's like an odds ratio of 1.4, but it's a big range in the odds ratio. And when they tried to repeat that study, Mickelbust is one of the authors there. I don't remember the first author, sorry. They weren't able to repeat it, so it's inconsistent. But does it mean don't stop doing like scapular exercises? No, they're still clinically helpful. But what they don't do is they don't consistently change the scapular kinematics. Right? So that would be, a good example of that is an old paper. I'll show you here. This one here. Oh, who's that one? Oh, I even forgot about this one. The new paper I meant just came out by this one here. They, well, no, we will do the McClure. You can do both. Sorry. McClure showed in 2004 people would get better and not change scapular kinematics. This group, I put this one in because this is kind of neat. These guys were able to show that you could change scapular kinematics, which I thought, oh, that's kind of against my bias. I should start talking about that. But then they had a control group. So the one group did like stretching and strengthening exercises. That's their control. The other group did stretching, strengthening, and scapular focused exercises, trying to change the kinematics. They were successful in changing some of the kinematics, but both groups got better. Right? So what does it mean about the relevance of scapular kinematics? Kind of not as relevant. Right? This is the idea. We can tolerate what we assume are presumed flaws. Right? Just like you can tolerate hip OA. Just like you can tolerate a labral tear. Right? We can tolerate tendinosis. It's the same thing with the biomechanical ideas. Right? They don't have to change. Right? If this hurts and this feels better, that's a reasonable symptom modifier. Right? But it doesn't really matter. There's not an ideal way for the shoulder to move. It just gives us one option, which is exciting, I think. Okay, does that help address that, Katie? And the other idea is, we said, well, why does this hurt if it's not impinging, if it's not an impingement? We're always impinging, right? If you lift your arm up, there's impingement, right? If you arch backwards, your back impinges. If you bend like this, there's impingement at the kneecap. We're always being pinched and poked. That's what we do. It's cool. But when is it painful? Even thinking just mechanically, just stay in the periphery. We would just say that something under here or around here is sensitive. That's it. That's our explanation. So the fancy diagnosis is sensitive shoulder. That's all that we can say. And what's interesting, again, Jeremy Lewis, who's a great shoulder researcher, that's where he's going. It's anterior shoulder pain. It's non-specific shoulder pain, because you can't structurally be specific, and you don't need to. You just be specific in what aggravates it. So what in the person's life is aggravating, and what seems to contribute to that sensitivity. And then boom, it expands what we get to work on. Right? That's the concept of like the cup overflowing with pain. So all these things that might contribute to their sensitivity. It's not just about, the arm being sensitive. Thoughts? Neat? Full of it? All of the above?